Welcome back everybody, and today we are here with our Redstone AI project, and today it shall no longer be the Redstone AI project as I have come up with a name. And if I can get some building blocks here. This is a terrible building block. Let's use ice. We will be naming it, once I pillar up here, to a place that no one will be able to see anyway, but why not? The Pseudo Automatic Mechanical Apparatus. So let me just type that here. There's pseudo and mechanical. There we go. Here's automatic. Yeah, that's right. And apparatus. And decoration. So now we have P.A.M.A. or P.A.M.A. There we go. And let's just put this back in here. And that'll stay up there. And off camera, I've done a little bit of cleaning up back here, as well as a little bit of problem solving. And I've made it so that it is now silent when it dies. So, if I can get around here, this is quite the maze. Down this way, this line that goes to the clock that kills it will now unpower with this piston blocking the signal when there's no longer anything coming as a signal through these droppers here, as well as leading to a line here that powers, because when it's off it'll power it. It'll power this thing here, so the two clocks will be activated at the same time, therefore locking it, therefore turning off the clock and just having powered redstone. And that'll work perfectly fine once we power it up again. And if we go to this other clock here, oh, I'm out of food. I need to eat. We have this circuit over here, and this is a slab so I don't bud power this piston. And when it turns on, it'll go through here, pushing this piston and this observer into this pulse lengthener, and that'll decay, or pulse decay circuit. That'll decay so that this clock is not constantly running. And this will no longer click indefinitely. And this one here is just because of bud powering from this line here. I guess I could have also just put a slab there, but oh well. It works just the same. And I think I may have done something over here as well. No, it's just gonna run indefinitely. But it's silent, so I didn't really care. Now to figure out how to get out of here, I think it's just this way. Yeah, both ways are escapable. And now, for today's episode, we are going to be playing P.A.M.A. So, I figured out some baseline rules. Start out with 3 of each item to power it up. Grab that one. And now I can begin playing. So, I press that button, which means I can now revive it by adding energy and adding heat. And for anyone who doesn't know what this is the power meter, this is the temperature meter. We should probably add another temperature. And as you can see, the eyes came back out, so it is no longer dead. And you can see up there that the light is now on, indicating that it does have life. Of course, I want to keep this balanced in the center, so it's not overheating or frozen to death. And it looks like I need some energy. These dropper circuits are non-spammable. And the goal of the game is just to keep everything balanced here. So try to keep the energy up and the temperature balanced, and slowly the game will come to life. And it'll cycle through different facial emotion things. And that is the whole recap of the game on what it does. And this, of course, was all built in survival mode. Let's add some energy here. Oop, we need a cold. Let's get some energy on my hotbar. Some coolant in the form of packed ice. And let's see how it's doing. Cool it down. There we go. And now we are at 2 energy. When it reaches 3 energy, it will change its face, and we need to cool it down again. We have a randomizer that will randomly make this meter go from left and right. And this one just depletes on a 32 block hopper clock. Both of them have a 32 block hopper clock. Throw in some energy. And now we have the unhappy face. But not the sad face, so that's good. Let's add some heat. Whenever something is at an extreme, so there's no power or there is a temperature freezing or overheating, add some heat, it will make it so a clock that's 2 times faster than the life clock's up there, right behind that stone, and the clock will constantly deplete the life energy, or the life meter, and that will of course be bad for the person playing, or me. And if both sides, or both meters, are at an extreme, that is very bad because a comparator clock will start running and deplete the energy very fast. Let's go ahead and fill up our hotbar again. That's 3 blocks of redstone. And 3 of everything. There we go. And now 1 more lamp means it will go to the confused face. So all of these will drop down. And we're probably just about there. Add some energy here. Oh, I added a little bit too much. So anything extra will travel up into that chest. And we can then collect it later. I guess I could start hoarding these things, but I might as well keep the game a little bit difficult. And now it is confused, as the mouth has dropped down to the bottom layer. Let's add an energy. And let's add a heat. Now we're at half of the life. And this game used to be extremely easy to beat, as it died when something was at an extreme at the same rate as when it came to life. So it was very easy just to fix the problem. But now, when something gets to an extreme, it'll start dying very quickly, which of course, when you're at the earlier game, is very hard to keep control of. Let's add some energy over here. We need some heat. And let's go ahead and fill our hotbar again. And these dispensers here are purposely making you face away from the displays, so in case something goes wrong, you won't be able to know it until you turn around. Therefore adding a slight challenge extra to the game. And now I think one more lamp and we will have a smile from this. And as you can hear, there's nothing to hear, except for the water, that is. And all the pistons moving behind. Ooh, we need to fix this. Heat. And now we have a smile. And of course, as you can see, the pistons move this from below these blocks. So it is a seamless border. Let's add some energy. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. We need some heat. And let's go ahead and fill up our hotbar again. There we go, that's 3. That's 3. And that's 3. So now we just have 3 more left to fill on the life meter, and then we will win. So we are very close. Let's just add some energy here. And we have 2 left. Add some coal. Grab some more blocks. There we go. And need another energy. There we go. And let's see, how close are we to 1 being left? Probably pretty close now. And after we're done with this, I'll go ahead and show you the basics of how the redstone works, but not in fine detail on how all of the circuits work. Let's add some heat. And we should be at 1 anytime now. There we go. 1 left. Add some energy. There we go, that's all 3 blocks. And we're almost there. Add some heat. Almost there. That meter we can leave going for a while, but this one is very risky to leave alone. As in 2 moves, it can get to an extreme, or it can fix itself, so it has a 25% chance of going to each extreme in 2 moves, and to any extreme, or combining those 2, that's 50% in 2 moves of getting to an extreme. And as you can hear, we got a full life meter, and the firework flew, signaling that we have won. And of course, now that we have won, we can go ahead and kill the game if we want, or we can just leave it to die on its own. But right here, we have a debug switch. Oh. Oh yeah, when it loses life, it also activates the win. So if we pull that lever, the energy will swiftly drain, and the temperature will freeze, and the life force will start to rapidly deplete. So now it's just a matter of the life force draining and me being able to press the button. There we go. So now if we go up here, actually right there you can see that redstone there is powered, and that activates the kill circuit, or that is the kill circuit. And right here you can see that this observer clock is running, and of course, as far as I know, this is the fastest clock in the game, so it's constantly depleting it. And it seems it's counting this as being at one extreme, which is a little bit wrong, and I'm not entirely sure why that happened. Let's see, is it at both extremes? Let's just go ahead and take a look here. Go over here. And that does look like it's at that extreme. So let's go ahead and head back over. It's at both extremes, so chances are when I was debugging the system here, we can get rid of that stuff. I just accidentally switched the blocks, but of course that didn't matter for our gameplay, as we never let it get to an extreme. So now it's just a matter of time before it dies, and I'll show you what happens when it dies. So now it's just very sad, and it's dead now, so the eyes sink in. So now that it's dead, we can flick this lever again. It'll just make sure it stays dead. Or the system will make sure it stays dead. And over here, you can see all the items we put in to play this game. Adding the 13 and the 16, I'd say that's about equal. That's 29 to 31. And of course we kept the energy quite high through our whole game. And now, we can just place our blocks back in their respective dropper. And that is the game. Now, let's go ahead and head on inside and check out the circuitry. And we're going to do this in the order that we built it. Okay, so the first thing we built for this project was the facial inputs. And of course you can see that we have two here. And the third one is this andesite line right there. And that is now all controlled by the life meter up there. But it used to have some button inputs. Right now there are no longer any manual button inputs, unless we of course add one just by placing a button there. Actually, there are a few for the temperature, because there was a lot of debugging having needed for this one. And let's go ahead and check it out now for the facial circuits. So what we have here, this is just one layer of it. It is a fully tileable design here, so it can all stand right next to each other. This redstone line here was just because these center four are always at the same position. But right here you can see that we have a repeater going into this, and what happens is the blocks under the mouth are pulled back, and a double piston extender, which we can see from the other side if we go around this way. This double piston extender will then change the position of the blocks and then retract below the bottom of the frame, and then the pistons here will then push back the frame to its original position therefore making it seamless. Right here, right behind the eyes, so here are the eyes on the center two blocks, and here are the eyes on the side two blocks. So as you can see, it was dead when we came behind here, so here is where the second half of the eye came. And this is a double piston extender, and this piston retracts this block, allowing it to go through smoothly. And then when it's done working, this piston returns the block there, once again making the frame completely seamless. Next up, I believe we built both of the meters at the same episode. So we'll start with the life meter, or the energy meter, as it is the same, or the simplest, and I guess sort of the same. What happened here is we could not fit in the circuit for the lamps right here, so what we had to do was make something that would detect a light display for our light display, and this is the actual circuit that if we had room we could build. In a later episode we added in this hopper clock here with 32 items that constantly depleted the energy circuit here. And when this redstone block returned here, this observer would power this once, making one energy item go into this dropper. Over here we have the temperature display, and we have the hot input and the cold input right here. So here's the cold input right down there, and here's the hot input. And the way it stores this data is in a piston feed chain that will move back and forth. So this is a two-directional piston feed chain. Clockwise, I believe, is on the top. No, counterclockwise is on the top, and clockwise is on the bottom. And the way it would work is we have a piston underneath each extreme. So here is one right here that detects when it's at an extreme, sending a signal right through here that then, oh wait, up here we go, I'm getting lost in my own redstone, and that travels all the way up to the death circuit, which we built later. It's right there. And when it got to an extreme, as you can see, we have cauldrons to differentiate between the redstone block, because as you can see right here, we have this cauldron right here, and since the lamp cannot be powered by a cauldron, this lamp is not lit as well. But the cauldron is able to send a signal through into this comparator, turning off that redstone torch, retracting that circuit, making it so that this feed chain cannot continue past the extreme. And that's the same thing with this one, just where the input location is. Up here we have the complicated mess that is the life versus death circuit. So if we maneuver our way through here, it's all based in this 3x3 here, I guess 4x4, or 4x3, if you count this torch. And this is an AND gate. This is just a debugging lever, so it's not powered right now. And it'll tell when one or two extremes are met, so with the energy and the temperature. If both are at an extreme, it'll fire this circuit that then puts it over to here, this block over here, making it so that this clock will run very fast. Of course it's dead now, so this torch here for silencing is powering both circuits. And if we go behind this, you can see that behind each extreme detecting circuit or wire, we have repeaters pulling that signal. One goes into a torch line here. By the way, my villager sorter is right up there. And this torch line, if we can parkour over to here, powers this thing here. So if none of them are at an extreme, even though this block may be here or here, I guess if none of them are at an extreme, it would be here, there would be no power going through here, therefore no life being lost. Now, since this detects when something's at an extreme, this torch here detects when everything is not at an extreme, and that'll power this line here. And if we follow this around the wall, it'll go to this clock, which is 4 times 4 is 16. So 16 ticks on a clock that slowly transfers these items into here, therefore counting up on the life meter. And the life meter is the next thing to get to, because it is this dropper here, and this comparator detects the items in the dropper, and then counts up along this display. It is non-linear as far as I can tell. I'm not sure what it is, but the first few power up quicker than the last few based on how many items are in here. And once again, in the theme of the energy where you have a light display for your light display, we have a light display for our facial display, which is right here. And just starting at this one activates the death circuit, which, as you can see, here are the eyes right there. So it's quite the tight fit, but it does just barely fit. And going on to the mouth circuits that fire these long piston chains, or I guess not a chain, just long piston arms, all the way down to the mouth. You can see that we have a repeater detecting, or an observer detecting the light display, that then goes into this repeater. The pulse is lengthened so that it is about the same length, or the time duration, as a regular button, a stone button there, and then that would then fire off these pistons, activating the mouth. And then of course it is the same with all of them except for this one. Of course this is the win detector. We just have some fireworks in there. This is all just weirdly wired so that it activates the right things for the right amount of life. And of course, as you can see here, the dispenser has fireworks, so when it is activated, this was actually a mistake placing this here. Let's just place it there. It'll fire off a firework, therefore making the fireworks sound play, therefore signaling to us that we have won. And that is P.A.M.A. So let's go ahead and make our way out. Oh yeah, right here. Almost forgot about this one circuit here. And I guess the death circuit as well. Right here we just have the item detectors. So we have ice, magma blocks, and redstone. And that just fires towards its specific circuit. And then those items go into here, to an item elevator, that takes them up to that chest right there. And finally, the death circuit, right here. I'm out of food again. It just detects when there's no items going through, and that would power this line here. That would start a clock, freezing the temperature, and as I showed at the beginning of the episode where I fixed this, it then powers these droppers here that deplete the energy. And then for the kill switch, we just have something for an OR gate here, so it's just a combined stream. And when we pull the lever, it's the same in terms of detection as there being no life. And right here, we have the startup switch, so I guess the kill switch wasn't final, or the final thing to explain. We just have this hopper clock here, and this hopper clock disables the machine from automatically killing itself. So instead of this circuit firing, it'll leave it up to the logic inside of the system to keep it alive. And just for a little bit of clarity, this is not the circuit that makes the life deplete. Only when the system is dead does it make sure that the system stays dead. And then of course, once it's completely dead, there's no life energy or life in the life meter, then it'll make sure that everything is silent, because I can only stand the clicking for so long. And that is P.A.M.A. And with that, that's going to do it for today's episode. So like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time for episode 98. We're going to be finishing up a lot of things in this world. I'll see you then. Bye.